From wherever we are, we acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia, recognising their continuing connection to this land, its waterways, the stars in the skies since time immemorial. We pay our respects to the elders, knowledge holders, and to all the generations of First Nations peoples who have nurtured their unceded sovereign lands for over 80,000 years and continue to do so today.
G'day, I'm your host Charlie Arnott, an 8th generational Australian regenerative farmer. And in this podcast series, I'll be diving deep and exploring my guests' unique perspectives on the world so you can apply their experience and knowledge to cultivate your own transition to a more regenerative way of life.
Welcome to the Regenerative Journey with your host, Charlie Arnott.
G'day, welcome back to the Regenerative Journey and welcome to my first Roma of the year, or this season 8. As I might have alluded to in previous episodes, of which I think we've only released 3 or 4 now, we are mixing up the style of interviews and the dynamics, as in not just a long format interview once a week. We're going to throw in some shorter, sort of spontaneous, found someone at a field day, bumped into them in the street if I've got my gear, which is made much more simple now with Squadcast is what we're using to record these, straight to video and so on. I can just throw them up willy-nilly week to week as well as at least once a month doing long format sort of stuff. So welcome everyone. We had a massive response to the first 2. The early Herta was actually the second one interview for season 8. And Angelica and I did one for the first episode of season 8. And very happy to say that I think it was in the first week we'd had over 2,000 downloads on each one, which is really good on the world, in a world sort of in terms of what is an average kind of upload, download for an episode. Because to be honest, I was a bit worried because we hadn't actually put one out since, I think, Zach Bush might have been December. We might have put a late one out in December, maybe November, late November. We've put nothing out since then, so I'm glad that everyone hasn't sort of forgotten about us. If I'm distracted, I'm looking past the camera to a beehive of ours, which looks like it's leaning to the west a little bit more than it should. We had some cows in the house paddock recently, and they tend to rub up against those things, so thank God it hasn't fallen over. What to talk in my Roma, I won't bang on too much. There are some things I do want to mention, dare I say more formally, which really regarding things we're doing, things we want you to know about, bit of FYIs for the season. It is autumn. It's a beautiful day today here. It's probably high teens, maybe might have even cracked 2021. The wind was a bit cool. I'm saying that because it's a lovely reminder of what autumn is all about. The leaves are falling, they're changing colour, they're on the ground, grass is slowing down, the growth is slowing down. It's a great time to put biodynamic preparations out. In fact, I've just spent some part of the afternoon brewing up a batch of cow manure concentrate and cow horn 500. Manure 500, and that is going to go out this afternoon. It's a great time of year. It's not too hot, not too cold. There's generally a bit of a, it's moist on the ground in the evenings and into the morning. Perfect time to put it out. There's even a bit of a light breeze. It's always handy to sort of help mist. Now, if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, then I think it's a wonderful idea if you're going to be within the bounds of Australia or even flying from overseas. That's fine. We can help you find accommodation on the 21st and 22nd of June. So it's only 6 weeks away, a bit shy of 6 weeks away. We are hosting maybe our only workshop here at Hanamino. This is where it all started. This is home. This is the home farm. And it may be the only one we do this year. So do not miss the opportunity to come and spend 2 days with Hamish and I learning about the principles and practices of biodynamics. And how to apply it to your everyday farming experience, practices, rituals, and just what you're doing every day on the farm. You can integrate it very, very easily. It's very cheap, very effective, And we also the day before, so that's a Friday, Saturday, 21st, 22nd of June, but on the Thursday, which would make it the 20th of June, from 3 to 5, we're having a free, it's all part of the ticket, farm tour, because we can, and we love doing it. So we'll show you around a couple of hours worth of the farm that you wouldn't normally see if you just came to the 2 days. So go to charliearnott.com.au and jump online, grab your tickets, and hope to see you towards the end of June. We are going overseas in July, and I had a massive response a couple of weeks ago, putting a call out to all our viewers and followers and so on, asking for suggestions on who they would like me to interview while I'm in the States. We had hundreds of comments and suggestions. Some Donald Trump got a mention. Bill Gates might have even got a mention. Not sure I'm that keen to interview those guys. However, some obvious names came up. Will Harris, which is awesome. Joel Salatin, Gabe Brown. Some obvious. I'm saying obvious because they're really, really well known. I have interviewed Joel already. I've got a few other sort of celebrity ones I'm trying to round up as well. But then there's also, which is really lovely, I have to say, and I haven't quite worked out if they're in Australia or they're over there in the States. I think there's a bit of both, to be honest. But lovely, especially the ones from the States, where people sort of like suggested other people they know, they work with. Some said, look, hey, come and visit our ranch and come and stay, which is so generous and awesome. And others tagged other people on ranches and so on. And those then got back to me and said, yeah, I'd love to have you do an interview, come and visit. So it was really heartfelt that, that there was something lovely suggestions. So we are putting together a list. We could literally spend months there doing, if we interviewed even most of the people that were suggested, we would be there for months. We've got 3 weeks. I'm very conscious it is supposed to be a family holiday. We're going to Gracelands because Lila is an Elvis freak in such a good way. And it's going to be such a lovely thing to do, to take her to Gracelands. Elvis could be there. Who knows? He could be just, raking the lawn undercover. Nonetheless, between LA and Gracelands and New York and in between, we have got lots and lots of suggestions. Don't fight the urge to make some more suggestions. If you want to just flick me an email on contact@charliearnott.com.au. Love to hear your things. And also the more we get, if there's ones that are repeatedly coming up as suggestions, then that's fine. That actually means there's probably a more sort of impetus to go and find those people. As I said, I've only got 3 weeks, so we have to be reasonably careful with, or sort of considerate with our time and where we go. And I don't want to drag my family through interviews every single day of those 3 weeks, but could be there for so long. The workshops I've talked about. I was going to say Beef Week was on a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, I can't believe I missed it again. I was there 6 years ago, 3 years ago. I missed it and went, I'm going to go to the next one. And I knew it was on. And I sort of half was going to go, but we just had so much on. But it's just one of those things I felt, I hate to say it, some regret that I didn't organise myself to get there, because there's some fantastic people up there. I saw stuff on different reports and newsletters. It would have to be the biggest event it happens only every 3 years, but of that 3 years, it has to be the biggest event of the year in the country in terms of rural, gathering, I suspect. Always good fun. That, to be honest, 6 years ago that would have been probably the first, in that year, would have been the first year I really kind of started dragging people aside with just a phone, no mics and no things. I might have even had a selfie stick. And just started asking questions and interviewing people. I remember doing it up there with 3 or 4 poor victims. And thank you, those people, just quietly for for getting through that, labouring through that. But I have fond memories of Beef Week for many reasons, and that's one of them. That's kind of really where I said, no, this is actually good fun. I really enjoyed it, and people seem to sort of seem to gel with it as well. Beef Week, bit of stuff on Hannah Minnow. As I said, we're doing running out some biodynamic preps this afternoon. Lovely autumn. I have been so enjoying our bacon. We sent 5 boars to the butcher recently, to the abattoir and then the butcher over at Cootamundra. They did a fantastic job. I was a bit worried because You know, the old boars. They were a couple of years old. They were big boars, causing a bit of havoc in the herd. In the herd? Is it a herd of pigs? No, mob. Is it? I can't remember now. Anyway, that group of pigs. It's not a murder of pigs, is it? That's crows. Or a parliament of owls. It's not a school of pigs. Anyway, bunch of pigs, naughty, big boars. A bit worried that they might be a bit tainty, like just have a bit of a not a very pleasant taste. They were magnificent. We've had the ham, we've had the bacon. We didn't do any chops and things. We just did ham and bacon and sausages, and they are delicious. I'm going on about it because bacon is the gateway drug for vegans. That's what I'm told. So yeah, it's just a delicious, delicious thing. Even the boars, and maybe it's because of the boars. I mean, they get a great diet. They're pretty much free range half the time, which is a bit sad. Now that just has gone off there. Hang on, where's my video gone? Oh, there it is. What else have I going to bang on about there? Just FYI, for those probably already knew, a couple of weeks ago I went down to Melbourne for the Holistic Health Summit put on by Regenerative Australia, and we had Dr. Jalal Khan was there. He's a quantum dentist. That's fascinating. We are going to book in to see him. Dr. Pran Yoganathon, he was there. What a lovely bloke. He just blew heads off. I love the stuff he comes up with. Who else were there? Oh, Dr. Anthony Chaffee. He was general health and food, basically, and how, insulin and food and processed food, how it just stuffs us up if we eat too much of that garbage. Good old Max Gulhane, he was all about light and circadian rhythms. He's about a whole lot of other stuff, but he really focused on that. It was really good. I've been wearing blue blocker glasses now for a few months now. Lila is every night. She just doesn't go without a night without her blue blockers. I've got ones that go over my glasses here. They look really daggy, but they're just great in the daytime for screen and artificial light. But inspired by Max and the yarn he had down there, and Natalie West, who's a integrative psychotherapist. Fascinating stuff. She put on a really good presentation as well. Was pretty broad, but it's fascinating, and I loved it. It was all very good fun, and bumped into a bunch of lovely people down there in Melbourne. I don't get down there very often. What am I reading? One thing I fell in love with Banjo Patterson over the Christmas time in January, February. Lordy literally found a Banjo Patterson, the collected poems of Banjo Patterson in an op shop. Just before Christmas, he recognised the cover as the man from Snow River. He just calls it Snow River, and it's such a beautiful collection of poetry. And we sit there often and read. The kids actually quite like it. I thought they'd be bored shitless, but they actually quite enjoy. Banjo Patterson, who was fascinating. His father Andrew used to be a local, as a marshal, not a judge. I think he's a marshal. They called him. There's another name for it. Anyway, he visited Burra often, Bynalong, not far away, Illawong, and just lovely to sort of clock that he was around here. Fascinating guy. Travelled the world. Broken horses in Egypt in the First World War for the light horse over there. So many other amazing things. I think he went to Papua New Guinea too. Did he? I think he did. I'm getting my biographies mixed up, perhaps. But it was lovely to sort of really understand. There's a poem I learnt when I was 11, bush christening. On the outer Barcoo, the churches are few, and the men of religion are scanty. On roads that are crossed, but by folk who are lost. On Michael McGee had a shanty. I might have stuffed a word or two up there. That's the only part I can remember. I used to know the whole thing. However, now I know Banjo Patterson much better, and there's a paddock just behind me called Patterson. I'll have to ask Dad if that is why he called it Patterson. I think it's the same spelling. What else have we done? The live export thing's come up, hasn't it, recently? The federal government planning to ban all live export of sheep by 2028. How do I feel about that? I've got lots of questions, to be honest. I've got questions about, I mean, people go, oh, it's 2024, 2028 is 4 years away. Yeah, but for businesses that are set up and one of their core businesses is growing wethers, where they buy wethers and fatten them, and they put them on the boats and send them wherever they go. I mean, I don't know. I think it's another great example of the minority, and I'm going to be a bit controversial, maybe the urban. I'm not that I'm speculating, and I'm not assuming. I am perhaps casting a wide net on a small group of people that allowed, and the squeaky wheel gets the oil, of course. And it fits in probably with, boats don't have to go over there and burn fossil fuels, and there's the ethical side of it. I mean, it's not in anyone's interest if you're carting sheep across oceans to have them die and have them in bad conditions. I'm not the expert there, but it's in no one's interest for them to be inhumanely looked after, because that costs everyone money. Death is a part of farming anywhere, whether there's animals on a boat or sheep in a paddock. That happens. And so, 4 years away, but really, that's a change of business model for a lot of people, potentially. And I was thinking, is that going to affect me? Probably not. We haven't sold big fat wethers for years. But I know when we did, they went on the boats. And if that's sort of the way you do things, and that's a whole big part of the market, if that market is now, even if people adapt somewhat between now and then, there's still a lot of sheep that are no longer going on a boat and going away. That demand is not there anymore. But the supply, a fair chance of supply is still going to be. You can't make a ewe have more ewes than wethers. Well, we have experience using iodine salt with iodine in it. Iodized salt, you do throw more females than males. However, wethers are a part of life when you're a sheep, when you've got a sheep enterprise. And if the demand is now lower because they're not going overseas, then that can only do one thing to the price, unless people get really crafty about how they're going to process wethers. And I suspect a lot more of your lamb you're buying from your butcher shop is older, is not the yummy fat lambs that you probably think they are. Could be wrong. I have my suspicions. So maybe more wethers will be slipping through onto your plate as a lamb. When I say wether, they could be anything that's sort of got teeth in its head, basically, as in its milk teeth are gone and it's actually 2-tooth, 4-tooth, broken mouth. So you've probably got a few of them on your plate. What else have I scribbled down here? Oh, honey, and loving our honey. Those bees down there. Hopefully that hive doesn't fall over. So on to other important things. I just want to bang on before I knock off at 16 minutes now. I'm conscious that I don't want to bang on too long. Little Plains, our wonderful Airbnb. We've got guests there this weekend. We've got guests again next weekend. It is so exciting. The fires are on. There's bacon and eggs in the fridge or in the kitchen. There's beautiful sunsets. There's verandas. There's garden. There's orchard. There's chickens there now. They might be quite ready to lay, but they are there. And once I put the automatic door in there, they'll be in and out every day. Hopefully not get eaten by any foxes. However, from 1st of July, we're offering accommodation for you and your horse or horses. So what does that mean? It means you can turn up. You got to tell us first so we can get ready. Turn up with your horse. We will have some facilities there, basic facilities for you to yard them for the night or the nights. And you can then, and we're hoping to have one of our wonderful staff members here, Tessa, guide you through the paddocks on particular trails, or we might just let you give you a map and you can go for a wander. There will be some rules apply, and there will be some documentation you'll need to sign. There'll be some things we just have to sort of sign off on, tick off. However, very excited because we reckon the horsey people in the world who have their horses on agistment in small blocks and so on, I'm trusting that they would love to get down Little Plains. It is beautiful there. Get on check it out, Little Plains Burrawa on Instagram. Go to charliearnott.com.au for farm stay. We're going to actually have a new website, totally standalone website for it pretty soon. But it is beautiful. It's a 1927 built, sleeps 12 people, 5 bedrooms, fully everything you need. and you will bring your nags with you next time if you want. You don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to bring horses if you stay. You can just stay without your horses. You can bring your dogs too. Actually, we're dog friendly, very dog friendly. So that's Little Plains. We are super pumped about getting it up and out. And Christy, the lovely Christy, she is our manager. She is awesome. She has a long history in the management of agri-tourism and farm stay sort of situations. We love her and we're so pumped to have her. And we're looking at the wedding situation too. So if anyone is hankering to propose, then you don't forget us, that you, just a few little T's to cross and I's to dot. I reckon weddings are going to be the next thing there too. Maybe we can combine the two, get married on a horse. How's that? But it'll have to be your horse. You can't use our horses, not yet anyway. So weddings are a thing. We're super pumped. And that's, the bloody screen's gone off again. And so that is just minutes and days away from being a reality. You can book in tomorrow. You can book in today. We are looking for sponsors for the season 8. We've kicked off season 8 without a sponsor because we just wanted to get some of the good stuff out to you now, because I know a lot of people have been waiting for months for the season to start. We will be doing a sponsoring of the whole season, and we've got some packages we're putting together for that. But also, we are offering, depending on who the guests are and how we approach them or they approach us, per episode sponsorship. So episode sponsorship, especially for those people who've got a book or an event coming up or something of significance. Great opportunity for you to get to a global audience. We've got a massive national audience and global as well. We found out recently that we are in the top 5% in the world. I've got a booger up my nose. Oh, a little white hair there. Looks like it's a booger. I'm sorry. It's not, I promise. We are in the top 5% in the world in downloads. And that sort of worked out with the number of downloads you achieve in the first week, and we're smashing it. So we're in the top 5% of the world. So if you are indeed interested in getting your message out and being on and in and part of a podcast in the top 5% of podcasts in the world, then get onto us. Go to charliearnott.com.au, send an email to contact. We can talk about episode sponsorship. We can talk about season sponsorship. We've got a number of different packages and different ways to do that. So I reckon that's a great opportunity for anyone. Alawa, I'm the ambassador up there. Joe Walker and her team, just inland from Noosa. I went up there a few weeks ago for the launch. It's fantastic. We watched Rachel's Farm with Rachel Ward and Blair Beattie from Farmers Footprint Australia. We had an absolute blast. It's amazing eco retreat, promoting sustainable living. There's workshops on organic farming, on biodynamics. We'll have one up there. Beekeeping, all sorts of stuff. You can plant trees for koala habitat restoration, that sort of thing. It is just beautiful, and a whole lot of stuff designed to rejuvenate the body and the mind while connecting with nature. Joe, you're a champ. You've done such a lovely, wonderful job up there, and I can't wait to continue and work out a few more things about how I can support you as your new ambassador. We're going to have a new subscription model this year. We had Patreon. We've been pretty slack with Patreon the last little while, I have to say. Hands in the air. So we've got a deal for the people who are currently who are still on Patreon, to swap you over to a new subscription for free and give you three months for free. We're trying to work out how to do that, but I'm feeling yes, not obliged at all. I'm wanting to do that because I feel it is the right thing to do. We'd love to have all those people on board and more other people on board as well, because we are just changing it up. We found Patreon wasn't necessarily the best platform to use, so we're looking at different ones. So you'll get things like, as a subscriber, we're going to take a chunk out of the middle of each episode, the long format episodes. I mean, if it's an hour and a half, we'll probably take 20, 30 minutes out of the gold out of the middle, and that will be only available to subscribers. So if you're really keen and you want to get on board and support, ultimately you're supporting the podcast to continue, which people have done for years now, and we so appreciate that. So new subscriber model, you'll get unheard Q&A sessions that we've backed up for some years now. little bits and pieces. You'll also get 10% discount on all full price tickets to our Biodynamic workshops for 2024 and ongoing. I'd say that's just going to be ongoing for a while. We've got that season going. Oh no, while you are a subscriber, that's what you'll be eligible for that discount. And there's some other things that we will do for you. That's probably enough. 24 minutes. You probably. I don't know where you are now. I hope you're having a lovely time. A lot of people walking, driving tractors, driving. I don't know, maybe even sitting having a cup of tea. The lovely thing about doing this is that what we do is we get feedback. Matt over there at Braidwood, if you're listening to this, mate, I got your message the other day and it was on the back of Hamish Mackay, a little 20, 30-minute thing I put out last week. And Matt said, I think these podcasts have changed my life. You know what? It nearly brings tears to my eyes when I get those messages of support, but it is supportive. It's lovely to hear. But for me, knowing that the podcast and all the different forms and the different guests and their situation, their stories of regeneration and renewal, that has made a difference to other people's lives. And it mightn't be just, about practices and tips and tricks and things. It's just sort of being inspired that things can be done. So that feedback is absolutely invaluable. It keeps me going. I love doing this, I have to say. And there's, sometimes I don't ever doubt that I do like it. It's just lovely to get that feedback. So we get it often, and it's really heartfelt. And as I said, that's one of the reasons why I do it. So if you've got feedback for us, good or bad, let us know. We would love you to subscribe to the podcast. I think you just click the button on whatever your podcast channel is, and it might send you notifications saying the latest episode's out. Review, rate, share as well. If you've got even some old ones, just some old ones, you go, oh, that one with Terry McCosker, I don't know, or anyone. There's many there. If you get the urge, don't fight the urge to send them to your buddies, because, if you found some gold in there, some benefit, share it with the other people you think might as well. That's probably enough from me. That's plenty of bang on. I hope I've covered everything. I'll be doing one of these at least once a month, and I'll be now sort of got some of the formalities off, to you now, what we're doing and what offers and so on. I'll probably be a bit more. Look at that what my beard is in the sun. Jesus, look at that. It's like a globe. My God. It's fluorescent. Sorry for those people who aren't watching the video. You can watch this on YouTube, actually. If you're watching it, it's because you are on YouTube. But if you're listening to this and you want to go and see the whole thing, not me, I mean, this is just me in the camera this time, but every other episode when I've got guests, whether it's virtual, and that's the one thing I'm going to do is more virtual ones this year, and side by side, in the room, face to face, one-on-one. So I don't know where I was going with that. We'll see you all. I can't remember if I was halfway through a sentence then or not before I got distracted with my beard. Enjoy everything. Oh yeah, send it to your buddies. Subscribe, rate, review, all that sort of caper. Don't be shy. Give us your feedback, and we'd love to have you, be a regular guest. Talk next week. Oh, hang on, whoa. I've got what I'll just tell you who's coming up. Libby Weaver, Dr. Libby Weaver. I interviewed her. She's coming up soon. Dr. Zach Bush blew my mind. He said it was his most favourite podcast he's ever done. Now that was in November, so someone might have done a better one with him since then. I'm open to that. I'm willing to take that one. However, up to that point, that just blew my mind. Thank you, the Bush legend. And Kim McDonald from Thankful for Farmers interviewed her a couple of weeks ago on the weekend after the Alawa launch. What a lovely woman. She and Mike are just champions. There's so much in that one. That's coming up in a couple of months. And they talked about Safel, a new app, which helps you save food. It's in your fridge and sort of reverse engineers the whole recipe sort of concept. So instead of just going, oh, what's the recipe? I'll buy the food. You actually put some intel, some info into your app, about what food's already in the fridge, and it will pop out a recipe for you, which has been put together by a number of wonderful, wonderful chefs that are associated with Safel. So many other stories about Kim. Those three, and there's a whole lot of others. If you have, this is the last parting blow, if you have anyone you want me to interview that's in Australia, whether I get to them face-to-face or not, it remains to be seen. But don't hesitate to contact me and say, oh, this is, even if it's like just a farmer down the road, they've got a fantastic story, someone well-known, it doesn't matter. If you've got a suggestion, we will put it on our list. And if it's virtual, that's easy. I love face-to-face, but virtual is fine. I'm getting used to it, especially with this new technology that I'm embracing. So everyone, next week, I can't even tell you who's next week, but it'll be a smash.
This podcast is produced by Rhys Jones at Jaeger Media. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to subscribe, share, rate and review. For more episode information, please head over to www.charliearnott.com.au.